So, like 90% of the time, I pee sitting down. I'ma just be honest with you. I pee sitting down. It's just easier, man. All right. Welcome back to another episode of the Mr. Blackman Show. I'm your host, as always, Jordan Blackman. And today I am filming this podcast while my kids sleep, which I usually have to do because having kids is a fucking nightmare. No, I'm joking. It's honestly the most fulfilling thing that could happen to anybody. For me, I grew up without my dad, so being a father and being a present father and being around for my kids has always been something that's been super important to me. I try to be as hands-on as I possibly can, and I try to be available as much as I can. Something about me that I don't know, other parents could probably relate. I just feel like I feel guilty doing shit for myself, which is probably not a good thing, but I really do. When I have days off from work, sometimes, I try to work on this. I try to work on music. I do music as well. And I try as much as possible to do it while they're asleep, which often means staying up till fucking the wee hours of the night, which is why I'm always goddamn exhausted. It's a tough one, man, but I love them to death. And my kids are only 2 and 1 years old, so I know that they're a handful now because they can't do anything for themselves, which is okay. But some days are very, very tiring. So if you're listening to this and you're thinking about having kids, don't. Don't do it. No, all jokes aside, having kids is definitely the best thing that I've done with my life. It's crazy, man. When your wife is pregnant and you watch her belly grow and grow, it's a big belly for so long that you forget that a fucking human being's finna come out of there. It's wild. You talk to it, you listen, it just becomes a part of your everyday life. And then 9 months comes along and you're like, oh shit, like a little niglet's gonna come out of that. You really forget. You get so used to it just being a belly and then all of a sudden there's another fucking person that just comes out. It's wild too. When you first bring your kid home from the hospital, you're terrified. Like, it's terrifying. For some reason, like with the first one especially, not so much the second one, but for the first one, for some reason, at all times for like 2 months, you think your kid's gonna just die, just for no reason. They're just gonna fucking drop dead out of nowhere. You're afraid of dropping them. You don't know how to hold them. Like, I never held a fucking baby before my kids were born. Like, who's giving me their baby to hold? Like, I went to at the hospital after my daughter was born. The nurse was like, "Yeah, go ahead and grab your baby." I'm like, you gonna fucking show me how to do that? I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, bro. Nobody's just asked me to hold their baby before. It's terrifying. It's terrifying. And then you're at the hospital for a day, 2 days if it's a C-section. And then all of a sudden you're like, all right, I guess we're just gonna fucking take this thing home. No instructions. They don't tell you fucking nothing. They're just like, yeah, checkout's at 12 and pack up your shit and get the fuck out of here. Take this little delicate piece of glass human being back to your house. Dip. Skedaddle. Fucking daddle. The one thing that pissed me off too is we're getting ready to go, and the nurse, they have to check to make sure we have a car seat, blah, 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 whatever. The nurse looks me dead in the eyes and she goes, yeah, just really make sure that you don't shake the baby. Like, no shit. Why are you telling me this? I think everybody knows. I think even people who have shook their baby know that you're not supposed to. Like, why the fuck are you telling me that? Like, that's gotta be racist. No, I'm joking. Yes, you take this thing home, and like, I drove so slow all the way home. Just absolutely ready to shit my pants. I'm so scared. And then you get it home and you're like, okay, what do we do now? You have this tiny little thing, like fucking tiny. I'm a big guy, 6'5", And so like this, it's just tiny in my hands, and I don't know what to do. You take it home and you think there's a bunch of stuff you're supposed to do, but 90% of the time they're either breastfeeding or asleep. And then my daughter, when she was born, she was breech, so we had to have a C-section. And because she was breech, her legs were like all like curled up the whole time. So when she came out, they had to check her hips because her knees were like still kind of tucked. It took some time for her legs to just relax and everything. And so when you would lay her down on her back, sometimes she would kind of roll to the side. And you're just like, Jesus fucking Christ, man, this kid's gonna die. It's gonna roll on its face, it's gonna suffocate, and it's gonna die. So what do? We took turns holding her while the other slept. It was fucking unreal. I don't know why we did that. You don't know, right? You have no idea. They don't tell you nothing. So I would hold my daughter for as long as I could, and then I would wake my wife up and she would hold her, and then I would sleep. And we did that like around the clock for like the first week. And then you get a little courageous, right? I started laying her down in her little bassinet, and the bassinet is right next to our bed, but it was a little bit lower. So the bassinet's right next to our bed. We had a baby monitor over the bassinet, and I would lay in bed and fucking watch the baby monitor. Just so fucking stressful. Thank God that my mom was nearby, and she would come in the morning with breakfast for us and coffee, do all the dishes, and just making sure we were all right. And then you start getting a little bit used to it. You get a little braver. You realize that the baby's not just gonna randomly die. And so you start getting a little bit of rest together. People don't know this. Babies eat every 1 to 3 hours, round the clock, bro. Nighttime, what is that? They don't give a shit, man. They don't know shit. They can barely fucking see when they're born, right? So I started, we opened up our new location like a week and a half after my daughter was born. So I'm still in the thick of it by the time I have to go back to work. And I'm so tired. And we weren't that busy to start things off. So there were times where I almost looked at my boss and I was like, listen, I'm gonna go fucking nap in the closet. Wake me up for when my next appointment is here or when somebody walks in. Cause I'm so tired. Everything hurts. My eyes hurt. My teeth hurt. My socks hurt. I'm dead. I'm gassed. You get used to it. You start to see that your baby's gaining weight, doing well. It starts sleeping a little bit longer at a time, and you survive. And so my wife and I, we heard that as long as you're breastfeeding, you can't get pregnant. Yeah, you heard that. As long as you're breastfeeding, you can't get pregnant is the biggest fucking lie. Like, I think somebody spread that myth around to fuck people over. So my kids are Irish twins pretty much. They're a year and 3 weeks apart. And if that doesn't make them Irish twins, then it's fucking impossible to have Irish twins, all right? Nobody's exactly a year apart. That's exactly a year, all right? As far as I'm concerned. And so, yeah, I mean, my poor wife, she's pregnant and breastfeeding and then pregnant again immediately. Like 3 months after our first baby was born, she's pregnant again. So we go through the whole fucking ordeal again. But by the time second one comes around, I'm telling you, you're a pro already. By the time the second one's around, I'm scooping the little nigga up like it's a football, holding it in one hand, whatever. You're not afraid. You learn from the first one, second one around, you're just like, easy, I got this. And you learn from your mistakes, which is nice. You're like, yeah, I'm not holding this baby in shift work. It's going down in the bassinet. Yeah, I'm not holding you in shift work. I'm not doing it. Took more time off as well for the second one because we had to have another C-section. And for all my mothers out there who have had one, you can't pick up anything heavier than your newborn. And when you have a 1-year-old, makes it tough. So it was nice to have almost a month to where me and my daughter could just chill, and it was dope. Me and my daughter got really, really close over that time. Fast forward another year, and I have a toddler and another damn near toddler. If you're like, hey, I just had a kid not too long ago, we do want to have another one as close as possible to the first one, it's a little too close. A year, a little too close. I'll tell you that much. When they are both running around, like both my kids, obviously, like they're running. All right. My son, he turned 1 in November. He can almost jump now. Like he's saying a handful of words and everything. Like, and it is chaos around here. My 2-year-old don't want to listen to nobody. Don't give a fuck about nothing. And will test you too. Test you to the point of like, you want to fucking square up? You want to square up with me, bro? It'll test your patience. And having kids too will make you like worry about the weirdest shit. Like you can't leave nothing on the counters. My daughter is a fucking giant already. She can grab too much shit from the counter. Like, and they'll make you worry about shit like peeing standing up. If you have toddlers, you know that you cannot go to the bathroom in peace. Taking a shit or a piss by yourself, non-existent. If I can sneak into the second bathroom and nobody sees me and my wife is at home, maybe I can shit in peace. And peeing standing up, you got to be careful for that shit because you're standing up and, you know, I'm really tall, so it's tough to reach them down there. And they will run up right up in between your legs and stick your hand in a toilet bowl full of piss. All right? It's just, it'll happen. Now you're mid piss and you got to worry about a toddler running around with pissy toilet water all over his hands, his or her hands. So you got to finish it up quick, fucking cut your stream or something, wash their hands. So like 90% of the time, I pee sitting down. I'm going to just be honest with you. I pee sitting down. It's just easier, man. And getting anything done around your kids is almost impossible, especially if you need any sort of quiet, like peace and quiet at all. I'll be in here recording the podcast while they're awake or trying to record some music. And not only is Paw Patrol cranked in the background, they're screaming, flipping out. If it's close to nap time or bedtime, fucking even louder. And oh my God, they get hurt all the time. Nothing serious, really. We haven't had anything serious that required, you know, a trip to the hospital. But they fucking trip, especially my 1-year-old. He hasn't learned to like watch where he's going yet. And so he trips over everything. If there's anything on the floor, your feet even. If he's walking by and you see him, he's about to walk by you, you gotta move your feet or he will trip over them every single time. They'll bonk their heads on shit. They'll hit each other. Like yesterday, my daughter has this Woody toy from Toy Story and she's playing with it and my son's playing around. And if you have one or had one, you'll know that most of it is really soft, but his head, his hands, and his feet are plastic. And she just takes the Woody toy and fucking cracks him on top of the head with it. Like, what the fuck, bro? For no reason. No reason whatsoever. And it's just like, why, man? Why? Yeah, this is a good PSA for birth control. Shout out to my wife and shout out to all the primary caregivers out there. And shout out to all the single mothers or single fathers that have full-time custody of their kids. After having kids myself, it's probably like a 3 or 4 person job, if I'm being straight up with you. If you know any single parents out there with their kids full-time, those people truly are gangsters. Like my mom was a G, because my mom didn't get no child support from my dad. She would work 2 to 3 jobs at a time and take care of me. Wild. How the fuck? I have no idea. I have no idea how anybody does that. It seems impossible. I don't really feel like I missed out too much. I'm just pretty thankful for everything that I had growing up. And I would spend summers like with my grandparents and stuff. And I had my aunt and uncle, and they have a couple of kids too. So it's not like, you know, it was all bad. You know, I feel fairly fortunate, to be honest. But one thing I will say though, having kids is the cool thing is they get into the stuff that you're into over time eventually. Like their personalities come out. Like my daughter already has rhythm. She's 2 years old and she claps on beat. You know, she memorizes the words to songs. when I'm making music and mixing and mastering and shit. They're fucking sitting in my lap, dancing away. I have a couple of microphones, so I give a decoy microphone to my daughter and she just do 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 do. She sings into it. It's pretty awesome, I'm not gonna lie. I was doing some music today and I had both of them in my lap and I was just doing some mixing and stuff. They truly are a blessing. In these 2 and change years, you get really familiar with like fucking Paw Patrol and Peppa Pig and Baby Shark and all that. Tell me why I can name all the pups in Paw Patrol. I know almost all the characters in Peppa Pig. And then you start analyzing the shows too, right? So like I know some of the voice actors in these shows. And Peppa Pig really kind of pisses me off, not because of the storyline or anything, but the way it's drawn and the physics in it pisses me off. Everybody got the same big old round body. Everybody's arms and legs like are way too small. Their hands like don't move. It's like stick figure arms and hands. And that bothers me. It really bothers me. Cause it's like, how do they hold shit? How do they do anything? Like, and they'll just, oh, he goes to put his glasses on and his arms just fucking stretch. Let's do a little bit better than that. But Paw Patrol is kind of fucking dope. I'm not gonna lie. I don't mind watching Paw Patrol. It reminds me of Rescue Heroes. If you're around my age and you grew up on TV like I did, late 90s, early 2000s, Rescue Heroes was a bop. And this is just like Rescue Heroes, except they're puppies. How can you be mad at that? And they fucking go around this little town and like save people. 'Cause let's be honest, man. Kids shows ain't the same. They're not what they used to be. Some of them are better. Some of them help kids learn a lot more than the shows that I had, I guess in that sense. But overall, it's slim pickings, man. I see some weird fucking shit. Like Blippi. If you haven't heard of Blippi, go look up Blippi and watch like a trailer of it. That nigga is so fucking annoying. I want to blow my brains out. I want to die. Oh, and Baby Shark too. The only reason why I throw on Baby Shark is because it's really good at distracting them. So if you just need a few minutes of peace and quiet, Baby Shark is good for that. But fuck, Baby Shark is awful. Nothing, like they sing songs and nothing rhymes. Never. And there are opportunities for some real easy rhymes in there, and they just go, fuck it. It's the weirdest, most like off-putting shit, but the kids love it. I don't get it. It's just a little baby shark do 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 over and over again that they love, I think. If it just rhymed more, I wouldn't have a problem with it. Fuck that shit. Fuck that shit. So fucking annoying. I could ramble on all day about my kids, the good, the bad, the ugly. I just want to say this. To all my dads out there, shout out to you guys. I know it's tiring sometimes, but you're going to get through it. And to all my moms out there, keep doing you. Moms are super important, especially to the younger ones. They need to be around their moms quite a bit. And you guys take on a lot of responsibility. So shout out to y'all. Stay strong, throw on some fucking Paw Patrol, and have a glass of wine. You'll get through it. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap this up before the kids wake up. Thanks for tuning in to the Mr. Blackman Show. I really appreciate everybody who's been tuning in, streaming me on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. It means a lot. New episodes every Monday night. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, The Mr. Blackman Show on YouTube. Follow me on TikTok and Instagram, JB Jordan Music. I'm going to be uploading some new music soon as well. So if you guys are interested, make sure you go check that out. Everything is in the link in my bio. So stay tuned for another episode next week. And thanks for tuning in, guys. Peace.